In recent months, Canada has once again adjusted its immigration and visa policies, and September 2025 marks a turning point for how visitor visas are handled. For millions around the world, Canada has always symbolized safety, beauty, and opportunity, whether for tourism, family reunions, or short-term business travel. But as visitor numbers soar and public pressure mounts, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, has begun implementing new, tighter policies to manage the influx. September 2025 isn't just a small procedural change. It represents a shift in philosophy, from open access to controlled entry, from convenience to compliance. Processing delays, documentation scrutiny, and validity periods have all been affected. To truly understand what this means, we must look at how the Canadian visitor visa has evolved, and why policymakers believe reform was necessary. Historical background: how the visitor visa system evolved. The Canadian visitor visa, officially called the Temporary Resident Visa, TRV, was designed decades ago for travelers intending to stay in Canada for 6 months or less. Initially, the process was relatively straightforward. Submit your passport, proof of return, and some finances, and approval was quick. But as globalization accelerated and migration pressures grew, Canada faced a challenge: how to welcome visitors without encouraging overstays or misuse. By 2010 to 2020, IRCC had introduced biometrics, digital applications, and background checks. During the COVID-19 pandemic, visitor visa processing halted almost entirely. But post-pandemic, pent-up demand exploded. Applications tripled. Between 2022 to 2024, Canada issued millions of visitor visas, many to family members of international students or temporary workers already inside Canada. However, many overstayed their visas, applied for asylum, or changed their status illegally. This rising misuse triggered new policies, now culminating in the September 2025 reforms. The September 2025 policy updates in detail. So what's new exactly? Longer processing times for India, 73 days, up from 69. For Pakistan, 45 days, slightly shorter than before. For the Philippines, 18 days. For the United States, 28 days. These numbers fluctuate weekly, but the overall trend is clear. IRCC is prioritizing scrutiny over speed. Super visa processing delays. Super visas for parents and grandparents have become painfully slow, averaging 140 to 150 days in some countries. End of work permit from visitor policy. From September 2025, visitors inside Canada can no longer apply for work permits from within, reversing the flexibility granted during COVID-19. This change alone impacts thousands who used the visitor route to enter and later switch to employment. 10-year multiple entry visas no longer automatic. Previously, a large number of approved applicants received a 10-year multiple entry visa. Now, visa officers have full discretion. Shorter validity or single entry may be issued instead. Increased financial proof requirements. Applicants must now show stronger bank statements, verifiable employment documents, and evidence of accommodation. IRCC is also using AI-driven fraud detection to verify if documents look suspicious or repeated. Visitor visa extensions inside Canada. Processing time for extensions remains stable at around 15 days, but officers have stricter assessment standards. In short, this is a system-wide recalibration. More checks, slower approvals, but higher integrity. Why these reforms were introduced? The real motives: Canada's immigration system has always been known for its openness, compassion, and inclusivity. But behind the friendly reputation lies a complex balancing act, one that has become harder to maintain in recent years. By September 2025, the Government of Canada was under intense economic, political, and administrative pressure to rethink how visitor visas were being issued and managed. So, what really caused these major reforms? Let's break it down into key motives. 1. Rising immigration numbers and overstays. Over the past few years, the number of people entering Canada on temporary visas, whether as students, workers, or visitors, reached record highs. By mid-2025, Canada had over 2.2 million temporary residents, a massive figure for a country of its population size. Visitor visas, temporary resident visas, TRVs, made up a huge part of this total. While most visitors return home as required, thousands overstayed or applied for asylum after arriving, putting pressure on Canada's immigration control system. Government audits revealed that a significant percentage of visitor visa holders from certain countries were using short-term entry as a backdoor to stay long-term or work illegally. This pattern alarmed both policymakers and the general public, leading IRCC to act decisively. 2. Political and public pressure. In 2024 and 2025, Canada faced growing public dissatisfaction with the overall volume of newcomers, not just immigrants, but also temporary visitors. Housing prices had skyrocketed. Rents in Toronto and Vancouver were the highest in North America. Many Canadians began linking immigration and visitor inflows to the housing crisis, job competition, and healthcare strain. With elections approaching, the government needed to show that it was in control of the borders and not letting the system be exploited. Thus, the visitor visa reforms became both a policy move and a political message. We remain open to the world, but under new, stricter rules. 3. Economic management and resource-strained visitor visas are not just about travel. They affect economics. Every visitor interacts with Canada's infrastructure, public transportation, healthcare, in emergencies, and housing indirectly through short-term stays. When millions enter the system yearly, even temporarily, it creates a measurable burden. The government began to realize that Canada's infrastructure growth had not kept pace with its population growth. To manage this, they had to slow the inflow temporarily, especially in categories like visitor and super visas. At the same time, by tightening regulations, IRCC hoped to prioritize high-value tourism and genuine visits over casual or risky travel patterns. 4. Misuse of visitor visas for work or study. One of the biggest red flags for the IRCC was the rising trend of status conversion, where visitors entered Canada and later applied for study or work permits from inside the country. Originally allowed during COVID-19 for flexibility, this policy had unintended consequences. Many visitors began entering the country without true travel intentions, only to apply for job permits once inside. By mid-2025, IRCC data showed that this loophole was leading to thousands of unauthorized work cases, some linked to fraudulent job offers and document brokers. Hence, from September 2025, the rule allowing in-country work permit applications from visitors was terminated. This move aimed to close the back door and reinforce the idea that visitor means visitor, no hidden purpose. 5. Fraud prevention and technological enforcement. Another hidden motive was technology. With the rise of AI-based document scanning, IRCC uncovered widespread fraud patterns, repeated use of the same forged documents, doctored bank statements, or AI-generated invitation letters. To combat this, IRCC began integrating machine learning tools to cross-check global databases and detect fake documents. This new system can detect if an applicant's financial statement metadata or file structure matches known fraud templates. Thus, the reform wasn't only bureaucratic, it was technological modernization of the visa system. The real motives behind the September 2025 reforms were a blend of controlling population pressures, reducing fraudulent or misleading applications, managing economic strain, responding to political pressure, and enhancing system integrity with modern technology. It's less about closing doors, and more about tightening filters. Impact on international travelers and families. Now, let's look at how these new rules have affected ordinary travelers and families around the world, those who apply genuinely but are caught in the system's tightening grip. One of the most noticeable effects for travelers in 2025 is longer wait times. Where visitor visas once took 3 to 4 weeks, many applicants are now waiting up to 2 to 3 months or even longer depending on nationality. For instance, India, 73 days Pakistan, 45 days Philippines, 18 days UAE, 32 days. These variations reflect new country-specific risk assessments. The higher the fraud risk profile, the longer and stricter the review. For families wanting to attend weddings, graduations, or baby births, these delays often mean missed moments. 2. Increased document demands. Applicants now need to show far more evidence: strong home ties, property, job, family, financial stability, bank statements, proof of assets, purpose of visit, invitations, itineraries, event confirmations, return intent, proof of return ticket or employment back home. Families who once used casual travel agents or incomplete paperwork now face automatic refusals from IRCC's AI screening system. This has forced many to hire professional consultants or prepare applications with meticulous care. 3. Fewer multiple entry visas. Previously, visitors were commonly granted 10-year multiple entry visas, valid until passport expiry. Now, visa officers are issuing shorter durations, often 1-year or 3-year validity, or even single-entry visas for new applicants. This change disproportionately affects parents visiting their children or frequent travelers who visit relatives multiple times a year. The goal is to prevent long-term, semi-permanent stays under visitor status. 4. Super visa delays and rejections. The super visa program, designed for parents and grandparents of permanent residents, has also slowed drastically. Processing times now exceed 140 days in many regions. Officers are applying extra scrutiny to confirm the child or sponsor's income is genuine and sufficient. The visitor has private medical insurance covering at least 1 year. This delay has left many families emotionally distressed, waiting months to reunite with elderly parents. 5. Emotional and social impact on families. Behind every application number lies a story. Families missing celebrations, grandparents unable to meet newborns, and tourists losing planned vacations. Many families, especially from South Asia and Africa, are finding it emotionally difficult as visa rejections have become more common. The perception has shifted from Canada welcomes all to Canada is cautious now. However, IRCC maintains that genuine travellers with solid documents are still very welcome. The key, they say, is honesty and clarity of intent. 6. Tourist sector repercussions. Travel agencies and tour operators have reported slower bookings due to increased visa uncertainty. While Canada remains a dream destination, from Niagara Falls to Banff National Park, some tourists are diverting plans to easier destinations like the UK or UAE. Still, the government insists that quality tourism, not quantity, is the new focus. 7. Financial and policy impact. As a result of these delays and restrictions, IRCC has actually reduced backlogs of suspicious or low-quality applications. Genuine travellers face a stricter but fairer system, ensuring better national security and transparency. In short, while families and travellers face short-term difficulties, the long-term goal is trust, integrity, and balance. Effect on skilled workers and dependents. While the September 2025 visitor visa reforms primarily target short-term visitors, their ripple effects have deeply impacted skilled workers, students, and their dependents, who form the backbone of Canada's labour and education systems. 1. Family separation challenges. Under the previous, flexible rules, many skilled workers brought their spouses or parents on visitor visas, then switched them to dependent or work visas after arrival. This gave families an easier, faster way to reunite. Now, that route is closed. Dependents must apply from their home country for the correct visa type, often facing long waiting times. This means many families are living apart for months, causing emotional and mental stress. For instance, a worker in Toronto may wait half a year before their spouse's visa is approved. 2. Stricter cross-linking between visa categories. IRCC's new data systems now automatically cross-reference applications across categories. If a dependent or family member applies under a visitor visa but lists employment or study intentions elsewhere, it triggers a red flag. This prevents misuse, but also results in innocent rejections when paperwork or phrasing is slightly unclear. 3. Students and temporary workers losing flexibility. During 2021 to 2023, students and temporary workers often relied on the in-country work permit conversion rule, which allowed a visitor to later apply for a work permit from inside Canada. That flexibility is now gone. If someone wants to work, they must apply from abroad before travelling. This has affected thousands who previously entered on visitor visas hoping to secure jobs after networking or short visits. 4. Economic impact on employers and communities. Canadian employers, especially in service industries, sometimes hired local visitors or family members under open work permits after entry. With the rule gone, employers now face labor shortages, particularly in seasonal and caregiving jobs. Additionally, communities that relied on visiting family members for emotional and childcare support, especially immigrant families, are now struggling to manage without help. 5. Skilled migration reputation for many foreign professionals. These changes create the perception that Canada is becoming less family-friendly. While that isn't the government's intention, it affects how global talent evaluates their options. Countries like Australia and New Zealand are actively marketing themselves as more family-oriented alternatives, promising faster dependent visas and easier visitor permissions. If Canada doesn't balance policy control with compassion, it risks losing some global talent appeal. 6. What dependents can do now. Dependents and skilled workers must now apply for the correct visa type, spousal open work permit, student dependent, etc. Avoid entering as a visitor if their goal is long-term stay. Ensure financial and relationship proofs are extremely strong. Keep all applications consistent. Mismatched information across forms is now easily detected by IRCC's AI. Experts believe that in 2026 to 2027, Canada will reintroduce a modernized family visitor stream, similar to the super visa, but faster and digitally streamlined. Until then, skilled workers must navigate a stricter environment, balancing their dreams of stability with patience and preparation. Art 7. Economic and social impact on Canada. The visitor visa reforms of September 2025 are not just immigration policy changes. They are deeply tied to Canada's economic structure, labor needs, and social identity. Let's unpack how these new regulations ripple through the economy, society, and long-term planning. 1. The immediate economic slowdown in tourism. Visitor visa rules directly affect tourism, which contributes over $100 billion annually to Canada's GDP and supports over 1.9 million jobs, from hospitality to transportation. The stricter screening and longer processing times have resulted in a temporary dip in international visitor arrivals. According to early IRCC data and travel agencies, visitor arrivals from South Asia fell by 18% in the first month after the changes. Short-term business trips and conference visas dropped by 12%. Travel bookings from Africa and the Middle East declined as families waited for visa clarity. Cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, which rely heavily on visitor spending, felt the impact first. Fewer hotel bookings, smaller restaurant crowds, and reduced shopping traffic. However, policymakers argue that this slowdown is intentional and short-term, a reset period to ensure that future visitors are genuine travelers, not potential overstayers. 2. Shift toward high-value tourism. While quantity dropped, Canada is now focusing on quality visitors, those who bring measurable spending power, business connections, or academic collaboration. New initiatives within IRCC encourage visa officers to prioritize applicants attending international trade shows, academic conferences, medical or cultural exchanges, family reunions with solid financial backing. By doing this, Canada hopes to retain economic benefits while reducing immigration misuse. This concept of selective tourism echoes global trends seen in countries like Japan and Singapore, where visitors are vetted based on potential contribution, not just intent to travel. 3. Business and trade impact beyond tourism. Visitor visas are essential for business travel, especially for tech startups, consultants, investors, and corporate managers visiting for short projects. Some Canadian businesses are reporting project delays due to visa-related postponements. International partnerships that depend on in-person collaboration now face scheduling challenges. In sectors like IT and tech consulting, education and research, and film and creative production, the need for quick travel permissions is vital. The new delays and risk scoring have forced many companies to rely on virtual collaboration, which limits relationship building and cross-border deals. Still, Canada's Ministry of Trade argues that this transition period will lead to greater security and predictability in who enters for business purposes, ultimately protecting Canadian intellectual property and reducing fraud-linked travel. 4. Education and university visitor programs. Another major economic pillar affected by visitor visa changes is education. specifically short-term academic programs and exchange visits. Before 2025, thousands of scholars and researchers entered Canada under visitor or short-term study permits for collaborations or conferences. Now, even these academic visitors face more extensive background checks and document demands. While this initially slowed exchange programs, universities are adapting by setting up dedicated visa assistance desks, offering virtual academic participation, and partnering with immigration experts for institutional applications. The economic effect is twofold: a short-term drop in visiting scholars and research events, a long-term improvement in institutional credibility and visa success rates. This aligns with Canada's strategic shift toward a controlled, reputation-based academic mobility model. 5. Real estate and retail market affects Canada's short-term rental markets, especially Airbnb-style housing, saw a noticeable dip after visa changes. With fewer foreign visitors, short-term demand in major cities decreased by 15 to 20%. While that hurts landlords relying on visitor income, it's actually helping local residents by freeing up temporary housing stock. Retail businesses that rely on tourist spending, like luxury stores, outlet malls, and souvenir shops, also felt a slowdown. However, the Canadian dollar stability and local spending by domestic travelers have cushioned the impact. 6. Social impact. Family separation and community disconnection. The social consequences of the September 2025 reforms are far-reaching. Thousands of immigrant families, especially those from India, Pakistan, Nigeria, and the Philippines, depend on visitor visas for family reunions. Parents visiting children, siblings attending weddings, and grandparents meeting newborns now face longer waits or rejections. These delays have strained the emotional fabric of immigrant communities. Cultural festivals, family milestones, and support networks are all affected. Social media platforms are filled with heartfelt stories of people missing key family events because their visitor visas didn't arrive in time. 7. Balancing control and compassion. Canada's challenge lies in balancing strict control with compassion, maintaining integrity while preserving its image as an inclusive nation. To soften the blow, IRCC has promised faster processing for compassionate or emergency visits, transparent tracking systems for applicants, and public awareness campaigns explaining the purpose behind reforms. These steps aim to rebuild trust between the government and the millions of global families connected to Canada. The September 2025 reforms create a short-term cooling in economic activity but promise long-term stability and better policy integrity. They reflect Canada's evolution from open to all toward open with purpose, a shift designed to sustain both economic vitality and social cohesion in the years ahead. Global reactions and comparisons. Canada's 2025 visitor visa reforms didn't happen in isolation. They are part of a global immigration realignment. Countries worldwide are tightening entry policies in response to population pressures, security challenges, and post-pandemic recovery issues. Let's see how the world reacted and how Canada's approach compares to other nations. 1. Reactions from immigrant communities across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. The reform sparked widespread concern and confusion. Social media hashtags like #CanadaVisa2025, #IRCCUpdate, and #VisitorVisaDelay trended for weeks. Many users shared stories of long waits and unclear communication. Immigration consultants across India, Pakistan, and Nigeria reported surging inquiries and urgent requests for application reviews. While frustration was common, some welcomed the move, saying it would finally reduce fake agents and improve transparency. 2. Foreign governments' responses. Some countries quietly express concern through diplomatic channels. For example, India and the Philippines requested Canada to increase staffing in visa offices to reduce backlogs. Nigeria and Kenya sought clarification on rejection patterns and country-specific risk scores. In contrast, the United States and Australia publicly supported Canada's reforms, seeing them as aligned with their own tightening policies. The UK's Home Office even cited Canada's AI-based fraud detection as a model for their 2026 digital immigration system. 3. Global comparison. Canada vs. other countries. Let's compare how Canada's 2025 visa reform aligns globally, Country Policy Direction Key Feature Similarity or Difference Canada, 2025. Stricter Visitor Screening AI Fraud Detection. Limited Conversions Balances Security and Compassion UK, 2024-25. Dependent Visa Restrictions Ban Students from Bringing Dependents More Restrictive Socially Australia, 2025. Higher English and Financial Requirements for Student and Visitor Categories Similar Economic Reasoning USA, 2025, focus on high-skilled and vetted travel. No major visitor changes. More business-focused New Zealand, 2024. Tighten visitor to work pathways. Limited overstays aligned with Canada's motive. The pattern is clear. Across developed nations, immigration is shifting from open entry to managed access, ensuring sustainable integration and system fairness. 4. Media and expert analysis. Global media outlets such as BBC, Al Jazeera, The Guardian, and The Globe and Mail covered the September 2025 policy shift extensively. Most analysts described Canada's move as a necessary correction, not a crackdown. They highlighted how the previous open-door system became unsustainable due to record immigration and limited infrastructure. However, human rights groups cautioned that the new system could unintentionally discriminate against low-income applicants who struggle to show financial proof despite genuine intent. 5. Reactions from universities and tourism boards. Universities and tourism boards initially worried about revenue losses, but most now support the policy, recognizing that credibility and safety are worth short-term slowdowns. Universities Canada released a statement saying, "Canada's future lies in welcoming genuine travelers, scholars, and families. This policy strengthens that vision." Tourism boards are now focusing on digital pre-screening and trusted traveller programs to streamline approvals for verified applicants. In summary, global perspective. Globally, Canada's visa reforms are viewed as measured and data-driven. Rather than closing its doors, Canada is setting an example for other nations, showing how to protect integrity while maintaining openness. It's not about fewer visitors. It's about better managed, safer, and more meaningful travel. Now we look into the future. What lies ahead for Canada, travellers, and global migration after the 2025 visitor visa reform? 1. Stabilization phase, 2026 to 2027. Experts predict that by 2026, the initial confusion will settle. Visa processing times will shorten as IRCC adapts to new digital tools and increased staff training. A Visitor Visa 2.0 system is already being tested. A digital platform that integrates biometric verification, AI screening, and instant travel authorization for pre-approved travelers. This will make the process faster, fairer, and fully transparent by 2027. 2. Global reputation recovery. In the short term, Canada's reputation as an easy-to-enter destination may decline. But over time, these reforms will restore trust and confidence among global travelers and investors. A cleaner, fraud-free visa system means easier travel for genuine applicants, safer borders, stronger global partnerships. Canada's brand, open, safe, fair, will return stronger than before. 3. Rebalancing immigration priorities. Visitor visa reforms are part of a broader shift. Canada is now balancing its temporary and permanent immigration streams. By 2027, IRCC aims to reduce over-reliance on temporary residents, boost permanent skilled migration, and introduce a new family visit fast-track program for verified sponsors. This will ease the pain caused by current family separation cases. 4. Economic predictions. Economists project that tourism and visitor spending will rebound by late 2026. With tighter verification and higher visitor quality, average per-visitor spending will increase, offsetting volume decline. Sectors like hospitality, events, and education will evolve with new compliance standards, making Canada one of the most trusted travel destinations globally. 5. Technological evolution. Expect more digital evolution. Facial recognition e-gates at airports. Real-time application tracking via blockchain. AI fraud risk scoring to ensure fairness and speed. These will make Canada's immigration system among the most advanced in the world. 6. Social healing and family reunification. By 2027 to 2028, with stability restored, Canada plans to reintroduce enhanced family visit programs, prioritizing compassion and efficiency. This means smoother reunions and fewer emotional hardships for immigrant families. 7. Canada's global role. Ultimately, the September 2025 reforms will solidify Canada's role as a global model for modern migration management, combining empathy with efficiency. Rather than being seen as restrictive, Canada will be viewed as a country that protects integrity without losing at heart. As we conclude this comprehensive breakdown of Canada's visitor visa updates, September 2025, it's important to understand how these changes affect different categories of travelers: tourists, business visitors, family members, and potential migrants, and what steps you should take if you plan to travel to or stay in Canada soon. These final insights will help you prepare effectively, avoid visa rejection, and plan your trip strategically under the new framework introduced by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, IRCC. Globe showing Europe-Africa 1. Understanding the new era of travel to Canada. The new 2025 visitor visa policies are not just administrative adjustments, they mark a new era of border management in Canada. Canada aims to tighten screening to prevent misuse of visitor visas for illegal work or overstays, introduce smart digital systems for faster but more accurate application processing, encourage genuine travelers, tourism, family reunions, conferences, education fairs, etc., by improving convenience and transparency, balance national security with economic and humanitarian goals. For applicants, this means more responsibility. Your application must be strong, authentic, and backed by clear documentation proving your intent to return home after your visit. 2. What you should do before applying. Step-by-step guidance. If you're planning to apply for a Canadian visitor visa under the new 2025 rules, follow this detailed step-by-step guidance. White heavy checkmark. Step 1. Research before you apply. Visit the official IRCC website for the most recent updates. Read the eligibility criteria carefully, especially about financial proof, travel history, and ties to your home country. Avoid relying on outdated YouTube videos or third-party websites. Policies have changed. White heavy checkmark. Step 2. Prepare solid documentation. Prepare a cover letter explaining your travel purpose, itinerary, and return plan. Include bank statements, employment letters, property ownership documents, or anything showing strong ties to your country. If visiting family, get a formal invitation letter notarized and include the host's legal status in Canada. White heavy checkmark. Step 3. Avoid red flags. Don't submit fake or inconsistent documents. Don't hide prior visa rejections from any country. Avoid using unauthorized agents. IRCC can verify and penalize fraudulent submissions. White heavy checkmark. Step 4. Embrace the digital system. Use the IRCC secure online portal. Paper-based applications are slower. Track your application in real time and respond to any biometrics or interview requests immediately. White heavy checkmark. Step 5. Be ready for longer wait times due to the global demand and enhanced scrutiny. Visa processing times may extend. Apply at least 3 to 6 months before your intended travel. House 3. Guidance for different applicant types. Graduation cap. Students' families. If you're a parent or spouse planning to visit a student in Canada, ensure you clearly show the student's enrollment proof, financial capacity to afford the trip, intention to return home after your stay. Canada is being strict with disguised dependents, those entering as visitors but staying long-term. Briefcase. Business travelers attach conference invitations, trade fair registrations, and proof of previous business activities. Clearly define your stay duration and purpose in your documents. Avoid overstaying, as it may permanently affect your eligibility for future visas. Family man, woman, girl. Family visitors include your host's invitation letter, relationship proof, birth and marriage certificate, and address details. Make sure your host meets the minimum income requirement for inviting guests. Tourists provide a detailed travel plan, flight, hotel bookings, sightseeing. Show proof of financial independence. Canada wants to ensure tourists don't rely on public assistance. Speech balloon. 4. Common mistakes to avoid in 2025. Submitting incomplete forms. Even a single unchecked box can delay your file. Giving unclear reasons for your trip, just want to see Canada, is too vague. Not demonstrating sufficient funds. IRCC now checks spending capacity per day. Using unregistered immigration agents who promise guaranteed visas. Applying last minute. The digital queue system auto-prioritizes older applications. Remember, accuracy and honesty are more valuable than fancy documentation. Briefcase 5. Tips for smooth entry at the Canadian border after visa approval. Travelers often underestimate the border entry process. Under the new system, officers may recheck your return ticket and accommodation proof. Any mismatch between your application and your live explanation can lead to entry denial. Be polite, confident, and brief in your answers. For example, Officer, what's your reason for visiting Canada? You. I'm visiting my cousin in Toronto for 3 weeks. Here's my invitation letter and return ticket for October 25th. Confidence plus clarity equals smooth entry. Future of visitor visas. What's coming next? The next wave of reforms, 2026 to 2027, may include AI-driven risk detection systems that pre-screen applications, shorter digital visas for frequent travelers, integration with biometric databases for quicker re-entry, potentially higher visa fees as part of global cost alignment. Canada is modernizing its immigration system. This is both an opportunity and a responsibility for applicants. Electric light bulb 7. Expert recommendations for applicants. Keep digital copies of all your travel and visa documents in a secure drive. Enroll in IRCC's visa update alerts to stay informed. Join verified forums or embassy webinars for authentic guidance. Plan early. Don't wait for last-minute offers or invitations. Applying for a visa isn't just paperwork. It's an emotional journey. Many families dream of reuniting, students wish to invite parents, and travelers aspire to explore Canada's beauty. Yes, the process is now stricter, but it's not impossible. Canada still welcomes genuine visitors, people who respect its laws, culture, and economy. Your patience, honesty, and preparation will make all the difference. So, as of September 2025, Canada's visitor visa landscape is evolving, not to block visitors but to ensure fair, secure, and transparent travel. White heavy checkmark. Be honest. White heavy checkmark. Apply early. White heavy checkmark. Prepare strong proof of ties. White heavy checkmark. Avoid fake agents. White heavy checkmark. Follow official IRCC updates only. If you follow these principles, your chances of success remain high despite tighter screening. If you found this detailed breakdown helpful, please move a camera. Subscribe to our channel for more updates on visa policies, student migration, and travel reforms. Thumbs up sign like this video to support authentic, research-based content. Speech balloon. Comment below with your country name. We'll share specific guidance for your region. Bell. Turn on notifications so you never miss breaking immigration news from Canada, Australia, the UK, or the US.